I'll invite questions. People who want to ask questions should come up to the mic in the middle of the hall, because your lungs might not be loud enough. I want you to keep it to 3 minutes max. And if you get to 3 minutes and you haven't stopped, somebody will ring a bell. It won't be me. It won't be me, says Pontius Pilate, washing his hands. It'll be somebody else, and then you'll have to stop, because we don't want long talks. We want brief, concise questions, only one per person, and just say which member of the panel you'd like to address your question to. Who's first? Come up the rank. Yes, that's this gentleman here. Yes. Is it on or off?
Can you hear me now?
Okay.
Oh, good.
Answer your own question.
All right. Yes, thanks for your presentation, panel. My question is about censorship. From what you've told us, my impression is that the whole argument about pornography is actually a distraction. It's not the real reason for the proposed filter. It's really about censorship. On that list that was mentioned of banned sites, I understand something to do with euthanasia was actually on that list. So euthanasia's got nothing to do with pornography, yet those types of sites would also be banned under this proposed filter legislation. That's really what I'm worried about, is that the legislation would have far-reaching consequences, and banning sites which people have a legitimate interest in and really need to know the information that's being made available on the internet. The government would simply censor availability and access to that type of information. So I think that is what the real thrust of the legislation is, and I oppose it. So I'll just leave it to the panel, to whichever one wants to answer that.
Can I take a shot at that one?
Yeah, Geordie, yeah.
What the gentleman's articulated goes to the thrust of the makeup of that list. Now, people who are interested in liberties, myself included, from our side of the argument on this particular debate, you will hear some hysterical rhetoric comparing us directly to repressive regimes. I distance myself from that because I honestly feel that if this was enacted tomorrow, we wouldn't necessarily immediately descend into that type of thing. I couldn't say that we wouldn't in 10 years' time or 50 years' time. But what's particularly important to look at, keeping in mind that there is more than just pornography, there's more than just a whole range of material on this list, is that euthanasia in Australia is illegal. This makes it refused classification. Computer games which can't be rated MA are refused classification. There's a lot of rhetoric that refused classification is violent pornography, people being raped, children having sex. It's not the case. Euthanasia, in one case abortion, and several other controversial issues will immediately, if the day this is enacted, be banned straight away. They're on the list now, we know this. Do I want to surmise about what else might wind up on there in 10 years' time? I don't need to propagate hysteria, but it is an issue. And again, I'd really encourage you to look up what the actual ACMA blacklist is, what it comprises of, and what the types of material are that are going to be on there. And I'm concerned as well.
Can I just make another comment? Well, I think one thing Geordie said there is absolutely true, and that is that some things are illegal, you know. So information on euthanasia, how to top yourself, is illegal. So, of course, it's banned wherever it is, as a book or on the internet, and quite rightly. Information on how to build a bomb is illegal, and so it's banned, you know. But it isn't, as Geordie says, the thrust of the legislation. The thrust of the legislation is about these adult themes and pornography on the internet, and these other things, which are banned anyway, are there. Now, I think it's really important to say that if people allowed the principles that I think should be implemented with this to be implemented, that you wouldn't have the sort of problem you're having to as much a degree, and that is this. At the moment, and Fiona spoke about this, she wants an opt-out system. In other words, you get everything and if you don't want it, you say you don't want it and you opt out of it. Now that's great if you're the marketing manager or the PR manager of Eros Foundation, because of course the stuff goes out to everybody and it's a much better marketing plan. But what we're saying is that there should be an opt-in, and that if people want to receive R18 or X, given it's legal, I don't agree with the stuff, but it's legal. I'm not going to say you shouldn't have it. But if you want it, you should have to opt in to get it. If I go into a petrol station and I want to buy a pornographic magazine, I have to go and buy the thing, I have to open the plastic container it's in and opt in to purchasing it. Now all we're talking about, and this is why this hysteria that surrounds this so annoys me, all we're talking about is the same principle applied to the internet, exactly the same principle. And remember this, that these people who are trying to push for this not to work want to see that if they establish a principle where the internet is not regulated, that they know that regulation of any medium will not stand up. They know that then you'll very soon not be able to regulate DVDs, publications, because nobody is going to stand for their medium being regulated while another one is free. Now this is a very important principle. And so the principle that has to be established here, with whatever level of technology is available, to do it without restricting the internet, and it is available, is to, from my point of view, is to introduce the principle, first of all, that the internet is not a free zone, because we've heard of all the harm. And it really annoys me. I just counted up, you talk about there being no research. I just counted up on the paper from Tom Altobelli. He's got 43 pieces of research there that he's referenced, with 93 footnotes. There is loads of research. And anybody who's in denial about the research that says children are damaged by this stuff is simply disingenuous. And we should have a system that requires us to opt in to the internet, to opt in to stuff that's legal, and I accept R18X is legal. That was a point in our press release. But people should have to opt in to get it. Kids should not get it when they don't want it.
Right, we'll take the next question.